On July 16, 1949, Walter Irvin, Sammy Shepard, 16-year-old Charles Greenlee, and Ernest Thomas's lives would change forever. Norma and Willie Paget's car would stall on a country road in Groveland, Florida. Although some of the details are still in dispute, Willie and Norma falsely accused 4 black men, Irvin, Shepard, Greenlee, and Thomas, of assaulting him, stealing the car, and later raping Norma Paget. Lake County Sheriff Willis McCall apprehended Irvin, Shepard, and Greenlee within hours, but Thomas fled the county 200 miles to the north. A posse of nearly 1,000 men encircled and hunted Thomas down through the forests and swamps of North Florida and shot and killed the unarmed man during the pursuit. The other men's fates were equally dim. Irvin, Shepard, and Greenlee would endure horrific acts of torture committed by deputies James Yates and Leroy Campbell, under the supervision of Sheriff McCall, in order to acquire false confessions. Shepard and Greenlee would succumb, but Irvin refused to ever confess. These confessions would ultimately not be used in the case, but an all-white jury would eventually convict Irvin, Shepard, and Greenlee of the rape of Norma Paget, with Irvin and Shepard receiving the death penalty and Greenlee a life sentence because of his young age. In 1951, the U.S. Supreme Court would overturn Lake County's verdict with the help of Thurgood Marshall and other NAACP lawyers. Later in the year, Sheriff Willis McCall was transferring Shepard and Irvin from the state prison to Lake County in preparation for their retrial. Once again, the lives of these 2 men would be drastically altered over the course of the night. During the drive, McCall pulled off the state road because of tire trouble. Irvin and Shepard were handcuffed together, and McCall instructed the men to get out of the car to help with the tire. He then proceeded to shoot both men in the upper chest area. Irvin managed to survive and played dead on the ground. When Deputy James Yates arrived on the scene, he noticed Irvin was still alive when he shined his flashlight on him. Yates wanted to make sure the job was done and fired one last shot into Irvin's neck. Miraculously, Irvin survived the entire ordeal and told the true story of the night's events. Sheriff McCall's statement claimed Irvin and Shepard tried to overpower him. Ultimately, it was Irvin's word against McCall's, and no charges were filed against McCall. Thurgood Marshall would again get involved in the case and represented Irvin for the retrial. Their efforts were futile, and an all-white jury found Irvin guilty, with Judge Truman Futch sentencing him to death yet again. The appeals process was unsuccessful, and the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the case in 1954. The determined Marshall organized a group of religious leaders to put pressure on a newly elected governor, who decided to commute Irvin's sentence. Irvin was paroled in 1968, but sadly died of a heart attack in 1970. The young Charles Greenlee did a little over 10 years in prison and received parole in 1962.